All right, guys, welcome back to the Three Coles Pod. This is four, episode four of the Three Coles Pod with my boy Arsenal, my boy Spence with the fresh cut. Um, but yeah, today's episode we'll just get into the recap of uh, the games this week on Saturday and Sunday, college football, NFL football. What a week it was, full of upsets, full of them. Some great games. Let's get into it, fellas. What we want to start out on, Spence.
I think the most obvious choice is that Texas game, man.
Right.
Alabama came in as a top ranked team. And I know on this podcast we said that Texas was about to get ran through. Fellas, they came out there with a backup quarterback who hurt his ankle or something. They played well. They played like a top 10 team, and they came this close to taking down that top ranked team, which is they're the most favored college football team in a while, right? To like go
Since
all the
USC,
way.
since USC in '05, really.
Yep.
They're the only team since USC in '05 to beat double digit
So
records in all their games.
so I mean, I'm impressed. And they played tough. Like I think Texas might have the best front four in the country. They are legit up.
That's
They're
a
legit
I know,
up,
but that's a big take because Alabama's front seven is Alabama's O line is
dude.
still Alabama, but Alabama's O line is not near what like there's Georgia's front seven is still good.
Okay.
Utah's front seven is still good.
But dude, that they're big. They play hard
I
and
know. I'm
tough.
saying they had a good showing. Like my thing,
They
I think
they played well.
Texas played above what anybody thought Texas was going to do. I still don't think they're winning the Big 12. I just don't. Um, they're going to have to go. I mean, I can't say it's like it kind of goes to show what me and Cole were talking about earlier. I think Marshall beat Notre Dame. Marshall's a 2-0
Yeah.
team. How do they
Yeah.
not jump into the top 25 team? I don't think I can judge. Texas played good. Uh, but they're gonna have to continue to play at that level. Now they set the bar that's them.
Mhm.
So if they come in and they're not putting on a show, then they're the real deal as of right now, going into week three.
Mhm.
But if they don't show that this week, then all right, then I like you said, you're trying to say they're a top 10 team already. They gotta show me. They showed me one weekend. They have to continue to show me. They have to show me.
Well, to be fair, they did. I don't even know who they played the first week, but they dominated them.
It took them a while to start. They scored 14 points in the first half. Took them a minute to get going.
They still end up dominating them.
They played an FCS school. All right, so let me. This is my take on it. Texas played their A game. Alabama played their D game. Texas played the best game they could have. Alabama played the worst game they could have, and Alabama still won. Okay,
Worst?
we shouldn't. Yes. Do you not know that was the most penalties? That's the most penalties. That's the most penalties. Yes. That Alabama has got in the Nick Saban era. That is the worst game. You don't.
I don't think. Okay, I don't think they
really
played their best game, obviously, but worst, fellas.
That's the worst game. You go look and tell me a game they played worse than that. No. This is in the past 5 years. I'm just gonna talk about my eye test. I've watched Bama for the past 5 years. That is the worst Alabama game I've ever watched or ever seen. I'm telling you, against an inferior opponent where they're 20 point favorites.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason Alabama wins that game is because their quarterback is the best player in the nation.
Yeah, he's good.
Single-handedly
He's good.
won them that game. Their wideouts cannot get open. They have one weapon on offense, which is unlike Bama. I think they will, like me and you were saying, their wide receiver, they're young. They will get better with time.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they just can't get open, and they're not on the same page as Bryce Young like they had in other years. They had Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle. They had the boy last year. What was his name? Jameson Williams and Michi.
Yeah.
So Alabama, they will have to kind of play old school ball, I feel like, in these next couple of weeks, like they did in the past with the run game. They have a top running back in the nation. They have Bryce Young who can run the ball, and he we can talk about it. He needs to have that willingness to do so because
Mhm.
Alabama is not Alabama with the weapons right now. Their defense is great, but they made too many turnovers. Their wide receivers couldn't get open, and Texas's defense played an outstanding game. I think if Ewers does stay healthy, I think they do win. But um, yeah, I want to give first to Texas because they are a top 25 team and they deservedly have that 20th ranking, I think, in the AP top 25.
Yeah, no,
Um,
they're ranked where I think
to say they're top 10 is a stretch. We need to see the next few weeks where if they win, but if they do, then yeah. But right now, I think 20 is where they should be.
there's other considerations that go into voting wise, like who's beating. The reason why Spence, when you made that face, why I said Marshall should have been ranked,
So,
why the reason why I
yeah.
said Marshall should have been in the top 25 is because in their conference they had two other teams besides them upset ranked big time opponents. You had Georgia Southern that's in their conference beat Nebraska, and then you had Appalachian State beat the number 6 ranked team in the country. So you had one team in your conference that beat another top 10 opponent.
Okay, but Cole, who do you take out of the top 25 to put them in?
I would
Who?
take out I would put Oregon State and above. I'm saying there's other teams, but I wouldn't put Oregon at 25. I wouldn't. I would have put Oregon State at 25, or I would have put Florida State at 25.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I think Texas beats a lot of these teams. I think the top six probably not, but you look at USC, I think Texas beats them. Oh,
I'm telling you,
Oklahoma State,
they're gonna have
Kentucky,
Spence. This is
Arkansas,
the only thing.
BYU,
Spence, this is
Texas
the only thing.
beats these teams.
You're saying they played their best game they could have played on defense because they don't have a defense like that. Like you can go look at the preseason and tell me what their defense is gonna do.
Okay,
They don't have a
preseason
defense.
different, bro.
But I'm saying
They also won 52-10.
I'm
So
saying
it's not like
who they play though, Spence. Who they play?
Those week one matchups.
But that's what you're supposed to do when you're a top tier team.
I know, man. That's like saying
That's a 42-point win.
So Utah beat SUU 73-7.
That's what they're supposed to do as the top. What do they rank? They're ranked at 13 now.
I'm
14?
saying, but bro,
That's how they're supposed to do.
I'm saying, okay. Texas goes out and who do they play this week? They don't play anybody. I think.
I just want to see what they do. Let's not get too overhyped on Texas because of one game.
They play UTSA this week.
And it's not a good team.
They're not a good team. Yeah.
And I'm saying, but
That
they're gonna have to show me. The teams that we're talking about, Bama has done this on certain levels. Texas hasn't been relevant the past couple years.
But it's not
They
about
haven't been relevant. They haven't been.
It's about now, though.
I know,
It's
so
about right now.
you can't be hyped. They had one good game, and the team they played. If they would have beat Bama, or if they would have played Bama this close, and Bama played their best game, I hear you. I hear your argument. But Bama played their worst game. Spence, you played football. When you get 14 penalties for over 200 yards, you're not supposed to win the football game. You know this. You played football. You played college football.
I will say though that if you're ahead, you tend to get penalized way more. But
the
yeah,
game was close, but I'm saying it wasn't even like that. They weren't playing. The number one player in the country was doing unheard of plays to get penalties. Will Anderson was making some stupid plays. He was making stupid plays, and he's the best player in the nation.
Well, let's just see in the next couple of weeks. Let's move on because this is getting too out of hand. Let's talk about other games. Let's talk about other teams that impressed us. Who else impressed us this week, Cole?
Tennessee and Kentucky.
Tennessee and Kentucky.
I think Tennessee came in. Pitt's a good team. I mean, they showed their defense is pretty decent. The offense, Keaton Slovis is doing his thing. Tennessee came out early, and I like to see when teams go down early. Like Tennessee went down 10-0 early and came back and ended up winning. And they showed that they can fight. Kentucky's another one that I think it was a slugfest. I mean, they could have tucked their tails and went into halftime down. I think they were down 7 or something going into halftime. They could have tucked their tails and just let them go. They didn't allow Florida to score another point in the second half. That was a dogfight if I've ever seen a real SEC matchup, I think. And again, I think Kentucky's quarterback is slept on again too. I think he's a gamer. He finds ways to win, and he finds ways to do it. And they have some weapons some low key weapons that right now I would say that their receivers looked a little bit more polished than Bama's receivers,
right,
for sure.
And to go along with Kentucky and Tennessee, they look great. BYU, they played a tough opponent, a top 10 opponent at home, and they took care of business. It was a tough game. It was a close game all along, but without two of their top wide receivers from last year, they got the W, and now they're ranked in the top 15. And there's going to be another tough test This week, who they play?
Oregon, at Oregon.
At Oregon, so
another top 25.
We'll be on the lookout for BYU in the next coming weeks, see what they can do. But I think they're the real deal. Their defense looks great.
That's my sleeper team right there.
Their quarterback looks great. But
They do look good.
I think. But other than that, let's talk about SC, bro. Spence, how did SC look to you?
USC, I think they're explosive offensively, and we've talked about that the past couple podcasts, but they're not big up front. They're not that. Them, to me, I don't see them. I think they can go far in the Pac-12, but you start playing like SEC type teams, like they're big up front.
Right.
They're big guys in their front four. Like I don't think they can block a lot of good teams. Like I'm impressed with their skills, but I think they're just small. They don't play with that like toughness, you know? And I think playing against Stanford, who's not, they're an okay team, and for them to kind of come back and still drop 28, I just expected a little bit more. But, they scored 41 points. Their QBs played good, and right now they're 2-0, and they're a top 10 team. So
I think this USC team reminds me a lot of Marcus's Oregon's team.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus's Oregon's team. Because I mean, you look back at that year, when you knew you were playing Oregon, if you wanted to win, it was good, and you had a good offense, but you did, it was going to be a shootout.
Yep.
USC's only chance to win against a Bama or a Georgia is
Utah,
Utah even is.
Utah is going to be a good game.
Or Utah even is. Can you stop me from scoring? Because I think they'll run into, like you said, they'll run into a defense where they won't be able to have some of those explosive plays where Caleb Williams will. And granted, I do think USC has the best offensive power in the country. They do.
Mm-hmm.
Talent all around the field. But what comes into those plays when Alabama makes you drive down the field, have to take what you can get. Like they're not going to give you that big play every drive. Like you have to work 5 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, maybe go for it on a fourth down in the middle of the field. And my thing is when they run into a team that can play good defense and has the same scoring power as them, can score, because USC, a lot of teams will have the same scoring power because USC's defense isn't that good.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to if they play Utah. Well, if Utah scores and then I score and then they get a stop, then they score, then they get another stop, then they score. How do I break that? It's kind of like a tennis match. How do I break that break point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do I steal that set?
Right.
So that's when I think USC is going to have to really dig into their defense and be like, okay, we need to stop here. Their offense can score. Their offense can score.
I think USC will only continue to improve. I think we're all on the same wavelength with USC. We all think that they are a top offense in the nation and they can score with the best of them. But their defense, especially playing Pac-12 teams, is lackluster. And when you go against that top dog in Utah, I still think they're the top dog because they did play Florida, and Florida's no joke. But if they play an SEC opponent, it's going to be that front seven. It's going to be those big boys, and that's going to make the difference. And
a worthy SEC opponent, not a
bad. And I don't know that they can protect their
QB.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I
think their first real test, and me and Cole were talking about it earlier. I think their first real test is this week to see, because I think that game is going to be a high scoring game because Fresno State has fireworks on offense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Fresno State can score the ball.
They can. They have some weapons. So I think this is a good test for their defense because Stanford offensively the past few years, they just haven't been it. You know what I mean? So Fresno State is a good Mountain West team. I think they're in my eyes now watching the Mountain West play. I think they're the best Mountain West team in the Mountain West.
That might not be a bad take, yeah.
I think they're the best Mountain West team. So I think this is a good test, a good defensive test. I do think USC is still going to win, but I think this is a good a good test for them.
Yeah, it's been a theme of Lincoln Riley's teams to always play good against those teams with like not really good defenses. But when you play that top tier, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons,
yeah,
in the playoffs, Lincoln Riley never wins those games.
Yeah.
Because they have those high power offenses, but then they have that defense that can stop them a little bit, and rattle them. And they have those linemen who are bigger, stronger, faster than you.
Just more physical, yeah.
So I think Lincoln Riley will attract those bigger guys in the next coming years. But for now, I think USC will be a 10-2 type team, but they have undoubtedly one of the best quarterbacks and the best weapons in college football.
I tell you right now, the team that looks scary in the Pac-12 that I'm even worried for when Utah plays them is I think Oregon State is still another team. I said
really.
Oregon State is scary. They have so much speed, and their defense is good. I mean, I think they're an underrated Pac-12 team. Even that we can even say they have to show me again. Oregon State showed me again. I mean, they beat Fresno State. They did their thing. I think another one though that's receiving votes that me and Cole were talking about is Washington State. To go and beat
they had a big win against Wisconsin. Yeah.
To go and beat them at Wisconsin, that was crazy. I don't know, man. I think Oregon State and Washington State are the two teams that I think nobody. It's usually like a UCLA that's like a 6-7 UCLA or something like that you don't want to play. I think this year I think the top teams don't want to play Oregon State and Washington State. And I mean, even Washington. I mean, Washington is, granted, we're not talking about next week, but Washington is going into Michigan State, or it's at Washington, but Michigan State's coming into Washington, and Washington is -2.5 favorites against Michigan State, who's number 11 in the country.
Yep. Spence, you want to talk about anything else college football related before we move on?
I watched a little bit of that Arizona game, which was on pretty late Saturday night, and they look good, but I don't know. I still think, to me, to see that game, you see the Pac-12 teams can be good, but they start to play out of conference teams and they're just better, because that's not the best SEC team. That's probably like one of the worst ones.
They're middle of the pack. They're middle of the pack.
Okay, but they're big.
Yeah,
they hit hard. Like, they got speed and talent,
yeah.
And you just see them get outmatched all over, except at QB. I think is the only one.
Right. Delore didn't have his greatest game.
But he did not play that good, and I think he threw three picks.
Yeah, it's just levels to college football, and the SEC is that
level. I mean,
yeah.
There's a couple other good games that we highlighted. I think Notre Dame just proved that they're just the status quo of what Notre Dame usually is. I mean, I think they're always. I never believe the hype on Notre Dame when they come into the year, just because they get into the college football playoffs solely because they're an independent school. They can pick who they play. Granted, they had an easy schedule. They went and played Ohio State. That was a tough game, but they went and lost to Marshall at home.
Yeah, that's
unacceptable.
Their QB is absolutely horrendous. Like, you can't win with him. He's not good at all.
And then the back comes in and throws a pick. So they need a recruit.
My thing is how are you come into the year a top 10 program every year you come?
They're top 5 coming in the year.
No, I'm saying every other year.
Yeah.
You're a top 10 team pretty much every year college football opens. And you can't tell me you can't go get a 4-star or someone that can throw the ball, someone that
Yeah,
can,
why can't you recruit?
or even a 3-star. I mean, how are you like? You can go to Hawaii and find or someone you can find a Jaden Delore or a Dylan Gabriel or a
They
McKenzie
recruit.
Milton or just some of these smaller name quarterbacks that are better than these guys you're bringing in that maybe might be a 4-star in high school, but they're just not it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they need someone more explosive, and they need to change up their offense. Their pro style offense is absolute dog
They
shit.
don't run it the right way.
They need a. They just need to score the ball because their defense
And
is solid.
it's tough because they have talent
They
in
do. They do.
other places, but yeah, QB is definitely not one of them.
It's always been a problem for Notre Dame. That's why they can't get over that hump, just like some of these other teams. But should we take a break, or how long have we been going for?
We still have time.
Okay, let's talk about the NFL then. Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm down.
Let's talk about the top dogs first. I wanna talk about the
Bills game.
the best teams. That is the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. Like we thought initially to start the year, those are the three best AFC teams, and they proved to be dominant. Dominant.
The Bills came out there.
The Bills.
I was honestly shocked. I did not think
I knew
would run them
the
like
Rams.
that.
I knew the Rams lost some people, but
31-10 though.
Bills just returned so much, and they've
They
just
look good.
knowing seeing where they finished last year, and then just coming into the year this year, it's like you only get better. So where they were at last year was scary, and
They just took it
to a whole nother
You
level.
look-
And the Rams look just
Stafford looked terrible.
they just look good.
Stafford looked awful.
Stafford is a good quarterback, but he throws too many interceptions.
Their line
I feel like-
man.
But dude, I think they had 4 turnovers.
Oh yeah, they did.
Josh Allen threw 2 picks. I think they lost 2
Technically,
fumbles.
I mean, he granted it still shows up on the sheet as a pick, but his first interception was
One of the picks, yeah,
he hit
fair.
the guy in his hands. He should have caught it, and it just
They still had 4 turnovers, and they couldn't do anything with that. 10 points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they did drive down. They drove down 89 yards one drive, and I think opening drive they drove down like 75 yards. And so it's not like they had 4 turnovers and only scored off of those 4, but they are a complete team. They were up front. I think they held the Rams to under 60 yards on the ground. Something crazy like that. They definitely got after the QB. Vaughn looks good.
He looks
Vaughn's real good playing with the Bills. They're gonna my dude.
I like him in the red and blue.
And I think they ran the ball okay. I know Josh Allen had like 56 of their 120 yards, but offensively they are legit. And the Rams,
defensively and offensively,
yeah,
they're the best team, and I can't even argue it.
I would say they're my favorite so far after week 1.
Rams up front though, they need to fix that.
Even
because they can't protect.
The offensive line is terrible.
No,
offensive line's it's horrendous right now.
Yeah, Andrew Whitworth. I didn't know he's gonna make that much of a difference, but they don't look like they can win the championship.
They might not win the West. Well, no, it's too soon because the 49ers didn't look good.
Yep.
Either the Cardinals got
Yep.
exactly what I thought. I'm not high on the Cardinals.
KC, so they were the better team.
I'm still not high on the Cardinals. I don't believe in them.
I like them.
Who else is there? The Hawks are,
Yeah.
Seahawks are garbage.
So I think they still win the division, but it's I think the
Super Bowl is interesting though. I don't know.
No, the Buccaneers are gonna run through the NFC.
Yeah.
The Cowboys look good against them now though.
It's
not at
they look good. They look good. The Buccaneers are just
Parsons is legit, dude.
Yeah, no, the Cowboys look good. It's just the Bucs are just getting whatever they want. They just can't score in the red zone. You're right. They do look good. They didn't just march down the field and set up for field goals. 12-3 right now.
Yeah. So
the NFC is definitely inferior.
The worst yes. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Has the top dogs.
Even the Packers looked like what happened against the Vikings? Because the Vikings came in and played physical up front, And Kirk
I'm telling you,
outplayed
that just shows that me and Cole were just talking. Me and Cole were just having this conversation. It just shows you, even what he did today, even though their team lost, Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the league.
Oh, I agree right now.
And you were trying to argue that Cooper
He's
Kupp
made an impact. No, I'm totally on that train. He's the best wide receiver.
and it showed today.
I'm on
It
this
showed
train.
today in the Green Bay game. It showed today in the Green Bay game how much.
Yeah, that and Kirk played well. Like, can we give him
But
some
I'm saying
credit?
there still was chance, like still yet. Aaron Rodgers being down 13. If you have Devontae Adams and a guy that can get open, they didn't have a guy. They had a guy wide open for a touchdown, second round pick, dropped it. Like, come on, like
Yeah, young.
they don't have a receiver. I mean, granted, they were missing what's his name, Lazard.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure about the Packers. They might not win the
it's still. I mean,
NFC North.
it's still
The
like
Vikings might though.
like we said, it's still early. They still got to go in week in and week out. I mean, it's just like saying like, holy smokes, is Tennessee going to be that bad? They blew a 13-point lead to the Giants. Like that's what we could say. Or we can go and say, oh, is Joey B like the worst quarterback in the NFL? He threw 4 picks today. Like,
No, but I think the Steelers are underrated. And I called that. Wait, I called that on this podcast. I said Steelers upset
let me stop.
this
The
week.
Steelers, dude, the Steelers look.
I called that.
The Steelers defense looks like a top 5 defense for sure.
I think it's the
TJ
best.
Watt for the year probably with the
They do.
so that would hurt them. But the reason that they won't go far is obviously because their offense is.
Yeah, their QB is just their QB
hey, but they still. You know what's crazy though is like you just watch Trubisky's like actions and like stuff like that. There's something about just being like the Steeler team makes you feel like that Peyton Manning Broncos team, low key.
Yeah,
Just
and I love that.
Trubisky just has to go out there and just not fuck up. Oh, sorry, but not mess up. Like
they're Garoppolo on the Niners.
Yeah, he just can't mess up.
A game manager.
Yeah, that's all he is. He
exactly.
just time off the clock. But the only thing is he that same level as the Garoppolo was, or like a Peyton Manning was that old where he won't be just because he's so young, where he won't be tempted to try to go make that big play down the field or that interception or like or something like that or trying to do too much, not managing. He's trying to do too much. But no, the Steelers look good. I mean, Najee Harris is a monster. I think.
Well, he's out too. I think with the foot injury.
Yeah, but it's not.
I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's too bad.
But
Liz Frank's pretty legit, dude.
The thing with the Steelers is their division is good. And the Bengals, they didn't look good, and they still kept.
But the Ravens, they started off slow, and they ended up being the Jets, but they started off slow.
And the Browns did
offensive line wise.
I think the
Browns was interesting.
I think the crazy thing with that I'm excited for though in the NFC is I think the Eagles win the division this year. They're no, but I'm saying that's not crazy. I think I'm just saying Jalen Hurts looked like a real quarterback, and me and Cole were talking about it. I know it's early, but Detroit did not look that bad.
Oh, Detroit looked good.
They looked good. They came back. They were down like 24 points or something like that. Something ridiculous. They came back.
They have heart.
I mean, if you go back, even granted, we're talking. I was talking to them last year. Like, you go back and look at their games last year. They literally lost some games by like 2 points, like multiple games by like less than 5 points. But but the AFC, just you can tell, like we said, it's the most dominant conference.
And the Finns won too, boys. Like Tua played pretty well. Not too bad today.
Miami looked like Miami looked good in defense. And Tua looked pretty good. He showed glimpses, but he still had some plays where was some knucklehead plays. He should have had like 2 picks, but they got Tyreek Hill involved. They got Jalen Waddle involved. Those two will play a huge factor in Tua's development as a player, as a quarterback. But yeah, they're contenders to make the playoffs, I think. But it is going to be tough because they are in the AFC, and that is
the East, where they're not going to beat the Bills.
Right. So they will have to be a wild card team, but they can do it. If they're in the NFC, they would for sure make the playoffs because the NFC is complete dog shit.
Yep. If they were in the East or the North or the West, even honestly, I would see it.
today? You know who blew it today? The Falcons.
Oh,
But I was so
I was I was
I
upset about that.
but I can't even lie. I was so impressed the way Marcus played. I couldn't be happier for the guy. I mean, the guy he didn't throw for a touchdown. He was 20 of 33, 215 yards, and then
No tugs.
he had 12 carries, 72 yards on the ground, and a touchdown on the ground. Like he did his thing.
Right.
He did what he's supposed to do. I mean, granted, he probably could have did a little bit more, but the Falcons look good. I mean, they look like there's new energy in like Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't know. They look good.
I'm happy for Mark to see
Yeah.
Marcus do good and get a chance because he
Mhm.
definitely deserved it after being a backup for like 2-3 years already. So, who else, man? A lot of the Giants go.
The Giants,
they go
Saquon Barkley back. Saquon looked so
They
good.
go into
And the Chargers. The Chargers look legit up front, dude. That is a deadly combo up front. They're gonna eat this year.
So,
Oh yeah,
yeah, the Chargers look like a top team in the.
Joey and Mac, they're gonna eat.
Yeah, the Chargers look their
yeah.
offseason of getting Khalil Mack opposite of Bosa
Was worth it. Yeah,
Herbert looks
Yeah.
like
Herbert looks
he
good.
looks like a top 3 quarterback.
it's gonna come down to the Chargers and Chiefs for sure.
The Bills,
The
bro.
Bills
And the Bills. No. Yeah. But I think
in the
those.
division you're talking about.
in the
Okay.
division.
Yeah. But I think it's
The
those.
Raiders, you can't hold on the Raiders. The Raiders look good too, though. They had a chance. They really, truly did have a chance to win it. They got the ball
They
back
were good.
under 2 minutes. They had a chance to win it.
But
The thing that
here's
can
the
kill
thing.
them is the offensive line.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Carr's probably somewhere around 15 or 16. Maybe as high as like a 13th. He's not a top tier QB. Carr's not that guy. He's not.
Yeah, he's good.
Herbert's good.
Yeah,
Pat's good. Like
He's not a top. Yeah, he's not a top guy.
But they have a good team, and they should make a run for the playoffs, the
Yeah.
wild card. But they're not going to win the division for
No,
sure.
yeah.
I think it goes through like the Chiefs and we'll see how the Broncos.
I'm
play.
excited to see how the Broncos do tomorrow.
Yep.
I feel like they can light to see how.
they probably will because the Hawks are. Yeah, they're not good.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
bad. The Hawks are bad.
Anyone else we should talk about? The Bucks are winning 19-3.
Third quarter, yeah. The Cowboys need a new QB. I'm sorry. I don't know why you paid Dak all of that. Dak is bad.
He's not bad. He's a top 10 quarterback, I think.
My boy Leonard.
Top 10?
No, I'm telling you right now. Hey,
Ooh,
hey, you
wow.
guys
I
are
don't
talking
know about that
Hey,
one,
can I just tell you something, Spence? Because you was talking earlier about the Cowboys front seven. You know, Leonard Fournette has 112 rushing yards. It's not the end of the third yet.
Yeah, they need to stop the run more.
But
No, they're good.
That pass rush is
Yeah,
legit.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
just giving you. No, Michael Parsons looks like.
Michael Parsons looks good, brother.
Oh, he's nuts, bro. I was telling Clark, there's no way you can block that guy. Tom Brady's getting mad at his O-line. It's like, dude, you can't block that guy. That guy.
Tom Brady doesn't like that either, bro. He is.
340.
And
Huge.
can we just talk about Tom? Tom at 45 is a top 5 QB in the league.
Yeah.
Most people in their
Top
lifetime
3 maybe.
will never be a top 10 QB for 1 year.
Yep.
Yeah.
99.99% of all football players.
Yeah.
He is
different.
He is 45. He's a top 5 QB, but he's human because he does not like to get hit, and it's showing in this Cowboys game. He doesn't like it.
He's 45.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would like to get hit when he's there.
I don't
45.
like to get hit when I'm 22.
Yeah.
When those big boys.
I mean, it's not.
Some guys like to
I mean, but
the hit though.
You gotta understand. Even when he was on New
Josh Allen's like that.
Even when he was like on New, but Josh Allen was a running quarterback. Tom Brady's never been a running quarterback in his life.
Fair.
Go look. What was his score? He like a 5.340 or something.
He's like
He's slow as crap.
something crazy, bro.
But dude, no, the Bucks are just. I mean, dude, to just even see some of these old heads on here. I mean, to see Julio Jones being the second leading receiver in the game, 69 yards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm excited to see what the Broncos can do tomorrow. I was glad to see Saquon back from his ACL injury. being a guy that tore his ACL, it makes me like nice to see that.
Yeah. I want to talk about I want to shout out the Bears.
Oh,
the Bears are probably one of the worst teams in football, and I still think they're one of the worst teams in football. And they beat a San Francisco 49er team that many predicted to make the playoffs. It was inclement weather, and that definitely affected the quarterback play of Trey Lance. But I just don't think Trey Lance is gonna be better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I don't see the potential there. The Niners have one of the best teams in football, but again, it's that quarterback that is the downfall. It's like a Notre Dame, they're always there, but if they just had if Tom Brady went to San Francisco, be back to his hometown, he didn't go to
if Tom Brady was over there,
Super Bowl. San Francisco would walk away with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the Niners do in the next couple of weeks and how they bounce back.
Saquon. I didn't know Saquon almost had 200 rushing.
They're gonna put, and I think the only game we haven't talked about much is the Panthers game, which I didn't watch.
I didn't watch.
I don't think we should talk
too much. I don't. I mean, granted, I had the Panthers high just because I'm a Baker fan. I love. I mean, Baker, did what Baker does. I mean, he didn't have to throw a pick. He was 16-27.
He had a Baker game.
He had a Baker game. The one that really startles me to see is McCaffrey slowing down. I mean, 10 carries for 33 yards. Or are they just not utilizing him in the right way?
And he's been hurt though too, and he's had other stuff.
I think he'll get back. I think
he'll get back.
The Browns are a good defensive team, but C-Mac, it was his first game in a while. He looked good.
But trust me, when the Browns run into a good team, you're not going to win too many games with the quarterback going 18 of 34.
No, you are not.
Nick Chubb looked great. Nick Chubb,
and they have the best duo in the league.
And
Nick Chubb had 141 rushing yards, no touchdowns, and Kareem Hunt had 46.
And I think he had 2 touchdowns receiving. Kareem had 1 touchdown receiving. So the Browns, they're good. They're a good team, but they're still going to be.
If they can hold on,
I don't know if they're a playoff team though.
Because when does he come back? Week 11.
They're not
week 11. But if they could, how crazy would it be if they could hold on and be at that 500 mark? Even at week 11,
right?
They'll go 8 and 9.
But I don't know. But then again, like you're gonna say, Deshaun's not playing right now. He's not getting no live reps. You don't know how he's gonna be.
You can't just come in week 11 and beat Deshaun Watson top 5 quarterback. It's not gonna happen like that.
I don't know if he's gonna be a top 5 QB. He's been out for a while.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but that's what he was. He was arguably one of the best QBs before he got.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll ever be up there again. There's a lot of good young talent right now. Let's just be honest. I don't know.
It'll take time for sure. But let's take a little break, fellas, and we'll get back with some tier talk, which I'm super excited about.
Yes.
Class of 2018.
Hey.
Athletes. Let's get
from Puno.
Yes, let's get right back to it at the end of this break.
Sure.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. So this is our tier talk segment where we highlight random subjects and give our list of what we think they should rank. So this week's tier talk is gonna be. I'm really excited for this one. It's gonna be the top 5, or what we think are the top 5 Punahou athletes in the class of 2018. So that's our graduating class.
Yes, sir.
And this is all subjective. Is that the word?
I don't know.
I think
that's the word.
That's the word.
I don't know. You're asking me. I don't know.
But we're just kind of basing our athlete tier list off of the eye test and who we think are just you're good at a certain sport. You're good at all sports. It's kind of subjective, like I said. So let's get into it. I first want to list some honorable mentions because I was just thinking of all these people in our grade, and I think these people deserve to be shouted out. I want to say my first honorable mention is Nick Buto. I think Nick Buto is one of the best athletes. One of the best athletes in our grade. I know you guys did not think of him,
No, he was different. Like he
can
was sneaky
play-
athletic. You
He
know what I
can
mean?
play every sport. He's so skilled at everything. So I'm gonna go Nick Buto, honorable mention. Kahi
Yeah,
Basho,
okay.
super good at
Kai can
baseball,
play.
great at football when he played. So Kahi Basho, Kyson, another guy, great at baseball,
Kai
great
think
at
can sling
football.
it too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'll say
Yeah.
this guy. He was definitely. I need to add him.
Cole. Arsenal was nice. He
Yeah,
was
he would be my
nice.
top
He could
five,
play
but
wide
but
receiver.
Yeah.
I
He
ain't
could
gonna
play
do
point
that.
guard.
Doing top five. We
He was
can't.
playing
We gotta keep
baseball.
ourselves. We gotta keep ourselves.
He
out
would
of
be
it.
in my top five though. But he is just an athlete, like a pure athlete. Any sport he could play. And then also Hunter Osoda. Hunt is just like
Oh yeah.
one of the most
Hunter's
athletic people.
Hunter, yeah.
Good at everything. Someone who I was always like in competition with was him. He's always good at like every sport. So
Yeah.
I gotta shout out Hunter. Okay, let's get into our top five now. Do you guys have any honorable mentions you want to shout out?
You know, like
mention.
that's not gonna make my top five cut.
Yeah.
I think I just throw in just because he's pure. Like I know we don't talk about him a lot on the show, but I don't know if you're gonna see this, but I have to throw Kaimi in there.
Yeah.
I agree. I throw Kaimi in there.
Okay.
Just because I mean, granted, he was an athlete. Played what he played volleyball,
Yeah.
basketball. Probably if he really wanted to play football,
Oh, he should have played like a safety or something?
He probably could have. He probably come up and just whack people. You know what I mean? But no, yeah, Kaimi's up there for me.
For sure, I agree.
I agree with your Kaisen. Yeah, but I'd say like more of those guys.
I'll say Tanner.
Oh, Tanner.
Aina.
I'll put Tanner Ono there.
Ola, Aina too.
I think
Oh,
Ola.
wait, we still gotta talk about Ola.
Yeah.
Ola's a pretty good athlete too.
Let's get into our top five. Here we go. Top five, Spence.
He's not an honorable mention for me.
Yeah. Let's get into our top five.
Spencer, you go ahead.
Yes. What's your five?
First?
No, five.
Five, yeah.
You know, it's hard for me to rank them.
Yes.
To be honest,
say something at five.
Just names. The rankings are just, well, you know. But I'm gonna say Kanai Akana.
Okay.
He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
6'4", jumps through the roof. He was a state champion, not in basketball, but he was a 4-time state champion in volleyball in high school. He is a 2-time NCAA champion in college as well.
Yeah.
And he is a good athlete. You know, he is a good athlete.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
What about you?
For sure.
Cool.
Kanai was my five too. I had to list Kanai. He's a fucking hammer. Kanai.
He's a hammer.
Kanai's like a one of those guys who just like freaky athletic. Like he just he's like had God given athletic ability. Like he doesn't even need to practice a day in his life, and he'll be good at any other sport. If he played tight end in football, he would be the best in the state.
He could play tight end.
He could play. He could have played on a varsity team, I think, for basketball if he played a little bit. And then he was like one of the best volleyball players in the grade. But yeah, he's just freaking.
Yeah, I like that.
Kanai at five.
Said I was gonna do Kanai at five. Well, that Kanai, if you're hearing this, would be my five. But a guy that I didn't say in my honorable mention that I would put in that spot, and he reminds me of a lot like what a Michael Mall was. He could have been good at it if he played it growing up. I'm gonna say Ryan Wilcox.
That's a good one.
Just because
Ryan Wilcox.
He can jump out the
Throw
gym.
it in.
He can jump out the gym. He could have probably been a good receiver if he played football growing up. You know, lanky, skinny, fast, probably like athletic. And then basketball, he just had stupid balance. He had a handle and could shoot a little growing up. But yeah, he would be my fifth.
Ryan Wilcox?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a solid pick.
You go four. You go
four?
Yeah.
Four, I'm going off basic. I'm going off of just physical specimen here.
I hope we don't have the same.
I'm just going off of.
Don't tell me.
I'm just going off of physical specimen.
I know you're gonna
say
Stephen Barber.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, I forgot about Stephen. Actually, yeah.
Talk about a guy that was just past the. He literally looked like the best athlete in our school at one point, probably like just the way he was built and just walked like. He had everything. He had all the intangibles that you can't coach. And, you know, I just think he could have been, I mean, he was a running quarterback. You got to be some type of athlete to be that type of quarterback, And then he could have just been good probably at other sports. He was tall, naturally tall, kind of in the same boat as like. Granted, he wasn't dominant. How Canelo was dominant at one sport, but kind of that same boat where he just had this height and the size that you can't teach. That could have made you dominant at the sport you were playing.
I want to shout him out too. I wouldn't have my list. I never thought of him.
Yeah,
he was a grown man in high school. He probably had like, if you're like just looking at like all the like these people, he probably had he was the best like eye test. He was like big, bulky, 6'3", 6'4".
Looked like he was on a roid in high school.
He was a man, yeah, for sure.
Who's your
one thing that sticks out with him is I remember preseason senior year, we were playing up in California, Honor Bowl, and we were pinned on our one up by 7, and he pulls the ball and runs 100 yards down the field, just burning everyone. And I was like,
remember we were at your
like that energy was crazy that play. We won 56-42, I think.
Yeah. Against that was your guys' best game all year.
Yeah.
That play though was like damn.
But that game just showed his potential and showed what he was capable of athletically. So for sure, Stephen Barber, shout out. My number 4 is I gotta put a girl in here, and I think I know what you're gonna say.
Don't tell me we have the same.
I think she was undoubtedly the best female athlete in our grade for sure. Just like
wait.
Yes.
Okay, wait.
I think Kayla
I didn't say that. Okay. I didn't see that one coming.
She really was.
She was the best female athlete.
The year I ran track.
She's the fastest. Her and Aaliyah were the fastest. But Kayla could play. She played volleyball too. But she was like the all-state track and field.
Her little strong ass showed her
she could jump. She could run.
Isn't she running at UH or something?
I have no idea. I don't keep up.
Oh, okay. But I just thought maybe. I thought maybe you would know.
No, but for sure, I think she was. I think she is the best athlete in our grade for sure.
Yeah.
Or female athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you guys have females, but
okay. I'm gonna go with Paige Hilliard. I think Paige was a great athlete. Obviously, she comes from a family of great athletes, but she ended up playing D1 at LSU, transferred to Illinois State, and she can play a ton of sports, dude.
Right.
Tall, jump, can hit, and she played football up until age 12. For those that don't know, so
she did. She played at Milan, I remember.
So
shout out,
she's an athlete for sure.
All right, Spence, that brings you to number 3, bro.
Who's 3, brother?
I had a hard time because there's just a lot of guys I could just plug in here, but I think one that's impressive to me because of all the things that he does, Haller. He is currently the Utah State starting D tackle. He's about 6'2", 285, solid mass, has abs now. He's slimmed down a lot. I mean, he looks big, but he's not just a great player. I think he's also a 15-time world fire knife champion.
That's a fact.
Which takes ridiculous coordination to throw fire into the air, dude.
Knife, it's an actual blade.
Well, that's a good point. I never thought of how.
I'm gonna be honest. I've seen some stuff too. Like he's got hands too. I think he practices in his off time. He goes to a gym out there, but he can box, dude. He's got some heavy hands. I think he could do that.
It's not somebody I want to scrap with.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and his hands are quick. It's he's a pretty solid athlete.
I'm good off of him, bro. He would straight give me the 1-2.
I like that 3.
Yeah.
I think 3. I think me and Cole will have this guy for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Ola Aina.
Yeah, that's my
Ola Aina.
He is the definition of an
Yeah,
like
just baseball,
football. What do you track?
No,
what do you do?
He's just an baseball. Athlete, he just was an athlete, though. I mean, he could have played D2 basketball if he wanted to. I mean, just
could play basketball too. Yeah,
he just was he just was nuts. He just was. The guy was different. I mean, he was a good guy. Like I liked hanging out with him in high school a lot. He was cool, and he just was different. I mean, to be a football player and think you're gonna be a player in college, play football, and then he's like, no, you know what? I can go play baseball at a high level, go to a good JUCO in Yakima or whatever it's called, and then go play at a high level in the NIA level, which is still a high level, and he's still playing high level baseball. And to be good and start there, it's just you got to be a good. I mean, he just was the man. I mean, he was a man on the football team. He was a good safety, punt returner. Baseball, he was good. I mean, he could run. He was a center fielder, I think, and hit the ball. I mean, just like you said, Cole, he's just a definition of an athlete.
You know, you're the best athlete on the team when you're a returner for sure. Cole, who's two? Man, we gonna have the same people.
Two for me. Because I didn't throw in a girl.
What?
Yeah, I didn't throw in a girl. So
okay.
I'd probably put for me. My two would probably be Ola. My forward, my three would be Steven Barber, and my four, since you guys put girls there, I was put just size wise and just she's a national champion. I'd put Mehana.
Mehana Ma'a too is.
I put Mehana Ma'a.
She's a good athlete, dude.
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. She's big. I mean,
she won at
national championship at the D2 level. In high school, she played basketball. She was a volleyball player, and she just could do it. I mean, her family's just athletic. I mean, look at her. Michael was probably one of the most freak athletes that ever come out of Puno.
Yeah.
And
she's got a long line, yeah.
Just it's just a long line. Her dad and mom both played college volleyball. And just that's
100%. 100%.
All right, so Mehana.
Yeah, so you go ahead. Who would be your two, Cole?
My two is for sure Alamo. Alamo is definitely one of the top athletes in our grade for sure.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention he's obviously one of the best centers in college football right now, but he was great at basketball when he played. He was a state champ in shot put, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could throw, dude.
So Alama, with his size, strength, he could move for how big he was. I think he's in high school. He's probably around 280, 290.
Dude,
he could move, bro. Like he could.
I just have to speak on that. He was playing tackle in high school. Yeah. Right now, he's playing center. But yes, for his size, he was really quick. I mean, at 280. He still had those fast feet, dude. He could really cover.
I think that's what makes him good.
I credit that to a lot of basketball. I really, truly do. I credit that to a lot of basketball because another player that didn't go to Puno but was huge but could fly was Noah Purcell. Could fly around.
He was a great athlete.
Yeah, he could fly around. And that's kind of Alamo wasn't that fast, but it was kind of that big body person moving quicker than you thought. You know what I mean? And
that's what I'm saying. Some of the best feet I've seen playing offensive line.
That's what makes him great right now.
Yeah,
right?
That's his feet work. His work ethic is probably just jumped out the roof too.
But he was skilled in everything. Yeah. You know, he could do every sport.
I mean, he played baseball.
He could do everything.
He played baseball for a little bit.
I wish he would have stuck with
Spence, who's your two?
So I went with Cole Arsenal at 2.
Yes, sir.
I really had to throw him in there. So for everyone that don't know, Cole, I believe you played quarterback before, and then you switched to wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
But Cole I remember him playing JV. I mean, he was a lead guy out there. He tore his ACL junior year, right?
Yeah.
And you chose to, play one sport. But, dude, you could play football. You could have went somewhere playing ball, Cole. I mean, I know you went to Adams State and transferred out now, but you were good at both sports at the same time, and you could also play like so many other sports, Cole.
Yeah, like I said, I would have definitely put him in my top 5, but I want to leave him out just to highlight some other guys. He knows how I feel.
For sure.
He's like that. I know he's not going to talk too much about himself or toot his own horn, but yeah, baseball player when he was younger, I think.
Baseball too.
Great football player, great basketball player. Still is great at basketball, but like even like
state champion,
and like and being one of my closest friends, like we always play like pickleball, we always play spike ball, like it, like he's always my partner in everything, and I would not pick a partner like someone else that can't win me the matches, the games and stuff. And he was definitely my partner. I'm sorry, Spence. You my partner too.
No, you wouldn't pick me. You wouldn't pick me. I know you wouldn't.
Even like water pong and stuff like that.
I know you wouldn't pick me.
Yeah, we run the table.
Partner,
I mean,
bro.
we got some. We can have a resume of who we beat on water pong.
Oh my!
Shout out Dalton and Hillard and Robbie Jones.
Shout out you guys. But yeah, you definitely. When it comes to athletics, this is my partner, and he's for sure one of the best athletes, if not the best athlete in our grade. Did you say your two?
I did. I changed it. I put Ola at my two because you guys put the girl at the 4, so I changed. Okay. Yeah.
So let's do our number 1.
Then start with your number 1, brother.
Andre.
You're Andre?
Yeah.
Andre to me.
Yeah, Andre's my number 1. I mean, he just was.
Yeah, he's a specimen at 6'4". He's got that track speed too. And what's crazy is he's playing at Princeton. He's playing 2 sports. But I don't have a source I could per se, but I've heard that the U.S. Olympic coach asked him to train for their track team. So he's
what does he run again? He does like the triathlon.
He was doing the decathlon.
And that's when you know you're a freak athlete. Yeah.
So he's a specimen. I think he was on some sites top 25, freakiest college athletes. I mean, he's got the size, the speed, and he looks huge now. He looks big. Like he's got that talent. He could go pro. He has pro potential. He does.
How's he been doing? Actually, that's the guy.
They don't start till next week. I've been.
Looking, yeah. You've been looking,
and smart too. Yeah.
One of those. We're talking about athletes, Spencer.
What do you say?
You talk about book smart. I'm like, bro, we're talking about athlete.
Yeah. Because if we're talking about book smart, I would not have been on this list.
It's not too much, okay?
Yeah.
But you go.
No. He's just a freak. I mean,
one of the best receivers in the FCS.
They're Ivy League.
Ivy League. Yeah. One of the best receivers at his level in college football. Probably the best decathlon guy. Like he broke records.
I think he was like number 2 in the track national tournament. I think he finished second.
He broke records, and in that sport, you have to be
an athlete. I mean, if I were to go, granted I'm in basketball shape, but if I were to try to go do it, I'd probably quit not even halfway. Probably the first 2 seconds of the thing, I'd probably quit.
But yeah, those are our top 5 athletes.
Let's just see if you can think of some other guys that we might have missed that we can shout out.
Obviously, there's so much more that we could shout out.
So many.
I can think of like Chris Espinoza in soccer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's like the best soccer player.
Yeah.
But he was good at when he was basketball and stuff too. Like
another guy that we could shout out that watched the podcast that was good at basketball and growing up and good at volleyball is Parker Van Dyke.
Oh yeah, Parker's a great.
Parker Van Dyke can play. Okay.
You can shout out Parker Van Dyke.
Parker was a great athlete, or is a good athlete. I don't actually. You've been drinking too much a little bit.
Yeah, Parker, you been getting a beer belly or what? Yeah, sir.
What else can we think of? There's so many.
Cortez,
in
his prime. Cortez.
But I'm saying he won a state championship with us. I mean, he was on the team. He would play. I mean, like
for defense.
Yeah, he was athletic. He was an athletic defender that could guard the best player on the court. You know what I mean? He was
Cortez. He ended up playing 4 years in college too.
Yeah,
I could even say
walk-on guy.
You'd go and say what's his face was a dominant player, Zane.
Oh, Zane, yeah.
Zane Jonathan athlete.
Zane is one of those guys who's good at a
lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Nick Nakaoka
is a freak.
Good at
actually, yeah.
And I don't know what he did, but
judo.
He was a good athlete.
I'm leaving out some other.
Canonical was a pretty good athlete too as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Football.
There's just so many.
I mean, if you really think about just being just all the athletics, like there's some girls that played on the volleyball team that did not touch the floor at Puno that play Division I level. Like
I know,
that's how crazy of like that. I just go and look and just holy smokes, that's crazy. And like having a little sister, Elle, like. Dude, I'll go play volleyball. Like and go to Puno, you'll get good. I'm like,
there's so much talent.
Like you had some girl. I mean, like a good example. This is not throwing shade on her, but like, wasn't Aria on our D2 women's volleyball team 1 year.
She was D2. No, she was D2.
She was D1 1 year and was D2 another year. I swear.
Doesn't matter.
But
She
I'm just saying, like, that's just really think of it. Or even the thing about, like, when we were playing core senior year, our D2 basketball team could have beat a lot of OIA Division I teams. Sure. You know what I mean? Like,
they were nice, actually. They were nice at D2.
They were a good team. Who's that one guy who plays at UTSA?
Oh, Fitu
Maka's he might go pro too.
We can even go and say throw the water on. I can say Paulo. The way Paulo moves for how big.
Paulo's so at 310 too. I miss that dude, man. I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah.
Paulo was the real deal.
But yeah, dude, let's wrap it up. It's not like say the whole grade already.
Yeah.
But
we could have Spencer Loeb. Yeah. Actually,
sure.
I'm just playing.
For sure. But all right. Now when are we doing the next pod? Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, we'll be
sometime
back.
then.
Yeah, sometime Wednesday, Thursday to just highlight college football. Yeah,
preview the week. Yeah,
got
sure.
some fire matchups that we want to talk about.
NFL picks too.
Yeah, no, both of them. So yeah, we got
5. Okay.
Yeah,
we got fire NFL and fire college picks. We keep going up in our college picks. We're 3-2. What were we 3-2 this week?
We'll be 4-1, 5-0 next week.
All right, yeah, we'll be 4-1. I'm trying to go 5-0 next week. We'll go 5-0. Yeah.
All right, but Spence, you got anything? Last words?
No.
Just thank you all for watching, man. It means a lot to us, and just keep following, sharing, and just keep liking the videos and comment and stuff, man. We're just doing it for fun to get entertained and highlight some things. Like, we just want your guys' opinions, and we just want you to follow this journey.
We hope you guys like the tier talks. We actually tell us if you guys make it this far on our Instagram, in our comments, what other tier talks you guys want us to talk about. We can talk about anything like school things. Like we can talk about best teachers at Point of Hole, something like that. Something funny.
There's some solid ones, dude.
Something funny, something that could relate to our viewers and stuff. Even though we have
college,
minority viewers, but
one more thing too, man. I don't know if it's gonna be this week or the following week. We're gonna have a special guest calling in Zoom, being in the Zoom with us. Brian Scott played at Occidental, played in the Kansas City Chiefs, mini camp, played for the Atlanta Falcons mini camp, was a 2-time spring football MVP, was the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Stars this past year in the USFL, and yeah, his name is Brian Scott, and he will be joining us sometime shortly.
And we're also gonna post a weekly video. I don't know if Spencer will have time to do this, but me and Core are gonna do what is it called?
We're going to just do highlighting. Breaking down the 808.
Breaking down the 808. So just talking about Hawaii players. So the college football, the Marcuses, the Tuas of the world. Just breaking down straight Hawaii players. Probably about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, and just pulling up their stats and seeing how they're doing and number-wise and where they're at. And I think we're going to try to really do across all levels. Look up some high school and then look up some guys that like Andre that's playing in FCS.
For sure.
Guys that are playing Isaac Silva that's at Columbia from St. Louis, that's a receiver there, and just some small, just all Hawaii boys though.
So we'll probably drop that on probably Tuesday, just separately from our podcast, just highlighting those Hawaii guys. But we hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday or Thursday with another podcast. Appreciate you.
My brothers.